Now that Wolfenstein Youngblood is out in the wild, we decided it would be a good time to round up the most batshit insane moments in MachineGames Wolfenstein series so far, which was a hard task considering the series is known for being, well, batshit insane in general. Spoilers ahead.
What the hell is that thing?
This is not the thing, Shimshon. This is not the thing. This is the body of a squirrel monkey and the head of my beloved Siamese kid. Shoshana, look at this. He's not gonna do anything to you. He's a good Engel.
I'm not sure there's ever been a more repulsive character in the rebooted Wolfenstein series than Hitler, which is fitting of course as he was an incredibly repulsive man in real life. Nonetheless, that didn't make his pissing, puking, murdering actions in the new Colossus any less disturbing. There are action set pieces, and then there's a fighting wave of robots and Nazis while falling from the sky in your childhood home. One of the narratives in Wolfenstein the New Colossus is how BJ tackles his traumatic childhood. And when he finally confronts his abusive father in his old house, the developers decided to use the emotionally charged moment to stage one of the most intense and batshit crazy gameplay moments in the entire series. MachineGames loves to tear down hero BJ Blazkowicz any chance they get. When the events of Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus begin, BJ is still dealing with the repercussions of his fight with Death's Head, and that he wakes up with a severely weakened body. When the Nazis invade the U-boat BJ is on, he has no choice but to mow them down whilst bound to a wheelchair. It's a frantic, exhilarating opening that sets the tone for Wolfenstein 2's increasingly crazy moments. Frau Engel is a villain you just love to hate. That's why it feels so good to see her get decked by a giant robot whilst she's trying to execute BJ via firing squad. What's crazy is not only does she survive a robot fist to the face, but she's still willing to get face to face with BJ to taunt him, smushed face and all.
For your crime, you will die like vermin. I will hunt you down. To the end of the earth I will fight you. Your skin charred, your fats rendered. Your kind exterminated.
Frau Engel doesn't wait too long to pay BJ and the Resistance back for the whole smushed face incident. As while BJ is off stealing nuclear launch codes on the moon, Engel locates the Resistance base in Berlin and nearly cripple them by killing or capturing most of BJ's friends. It was surprising, led to the deaths of major characters like Klaus and Tekla, and it perfectly set the stage for the climax of New Order. For all the gonzo humour present in the rebooted Wolfenstein series, it's also very dark. The New Colossus might start at one of its darkest points when arch-nemesis Frau Engel murders BJ's close ally and friend Caroline Becker. But it's not a quick death for Becker. Engel first tries to force her own daughter to execute the paralysed woman before doing the deed herself. And she immediately follows up the gruesome scene by torturing BJ psychologically with Becker's death. Executions don't get darker or crazier than this.
Kiss, kiss, kiss.
The scene where Anya saves BJ in the New Colossus is primarily notable because she did it topless, pregnant, and covered in blood. If there's ever been a more cathartic image than this in a video game, I don't want to know about it. In Wolfenstein The New Order, antagonist Death's Head asks you to choose which one of your comrades, Fergus or Wyatt, he should kill. It's a horrific Sophie's choice, made worse by the incredibly disgusting way in which Death's Head murders whatever poor soul you sacrifice. Which brings us to what Death's Head actually does. In a scene that could only be described as graphic in a game so already soaked in gore, Death's Head drills a hole into their brain and sucks it out into a tube. Later on in the New Order, Death's Head reveals he put the brain into the head of a robot which eventually tries to kill you, and then later begs for the sweet release of death. What a torturous way to go. BJ Blazkowicz straight up died in Wolfenstein The New Colossus, and it was the best moment in the whole game. For most of the first half of The New Colossus, BJ was in dire straits. Weakened from his fight at the end of Wolfenstein The New Order, BJ spent much of the game on life support. So how did he end up recovering in time to liberate America from the Nazis? By getting beheaded in a publicly televised execution, only for his friends to quickly steal BJ's decapitated head and surgically attach it to the body of a Nazi super soldier. Weird flex, but okay. New Colossus ends without a big final battle against a notable villain, which would be kind of a disappointment if not for the fact that right after the final battle, you and your crew interrupt a national late-night interview with Frau Engel to deliver her exactly what she deserves, a hatchet through her evil Nazi skull. It's one of the most graphic, holy shit moments of the series, but also strangely one of the most feel-good moments as well. Thanks for watching, and for more Wolfenstein Youngblood, make sure to check out our full review or check out the entire story for yourself by watching all the cutscenes. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.